on here in 3, 2. Welcome home, Raiders. This week, patch 5.4 has dropped, and we'll go over Proving Grounds, Timeless Isle, and of course, the Siege of Orgrimmar. Flex rating already has a change, and we'll share some spoilers with you, too. This is Convert to Raid number 111!
You're listening to Convert to Raid.
Convert to Raid.
The podcast for raiders in the world of Warcraft.
The Convert to Raid Command Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is Convert to Raid. Hello, and today is September 15th, 2013. It is now 11:23 a.m. due to Darius' internets. But thank you so much for joining us from all around World of Warcraft land. My name is Pat Crane, your host of the show, and I can't talk, but I'm also called Zug around Airy Peak, US, and I'm raiding the new Siege of Orgrimmar. And the players are here. So let's go to beautiful Beantown, Boston area, to Darius. Hello.
Hello. You didn't do the part where you say I'm from Convert to Raid 2. That's the only thing people know me by.
Convert to Raid 2 is awesome. Go check it out if you're still working on Throne of Thunder.
Yeah.
If you're still working on Throne of Thunder, go check out Convert to Raid 2, please.
We'll have Siege of Orgrimmar up by the time the next expansion hits.
That's right. Exactly. Sometime before the next expansion. Awesome. Well, let's go to Hollyweird, California, to our Raging Mage, Coltrane.
Fortune cookies say,
Oh, man.
a raider who cheeses the meters is not very good. Huh?
That's it. I'm done.
Like Gouda cheese.
I'm out of here. Let's wrap up. Let's turn off the lights, people. Oh, that's the show.
Not very Gouda.
That's the show.
That joke was not very Gouda.
No, it really was not. It was not. Mm-mm.
Come on.
2 out of 10
That's
bongos.
classic. It's clever. It gets the people going.
I don't know if it gets the people going. Yeah, it gets them out the door, maybe.
Oh, come on now. Well, that was sent in by Denigh, Denigh, a 90 hunter on Tharsarian. Wait, Tharasan? Thaurисsan. Tharasan?
They're not gonna send us jokes anymore.
Not gonna send us any more jokes.
Oh boy! All right.
Well done.
Well, thank you for your participation as always. The joke, however, I don't know. I'm still working on that one.
It's a little cheesy,
right?
I mean, it's a little jacked up there. I apologize.
Still not good. You did not make that better. Just letting you know, you did not make that better at all.
Right, I'm sorry. It's not getting any cheddar. I mean, better. It's not getting any cheddar. No.
No, it really isn't. Jerk. All right, let's talk a little bit. So this has been a big week in World of Warcraft. A new patch dropped, right? So let's
do this anymore.
Let's talk about what we've done in World of Warcraft this week. Let's kind of try not to. Let's save all the raid stuff for the news, because we've got some news that goes on with the raid stuff. But everything else, and maybe Coltrane. What have you been able to do? I know that you had to work a lot this week, which is probably limited your time, right?
He's got some good news and some bad news. So, Mr. Pat Crane, which do you want to hear first?
Let's hear the bad news first. The
bad news is, 5.4 dropped, and real life said, hey, rather than play 5.4, why don't you play with this nice stick of poo? Here, play with this.
Nice.
Enjoy.
That's good.
It's still warm.
Right.
So that's what I did. I fought the real life boss, and real life won. And just like you said, I worked late every night this week. And then on Thursday, I started work at 9 a.m. I worked all day and all night to the following 9 a.m. and then 10 hours more after that.
So what you're saying is you're a hardcore raider.
At work.
But at work.
Right, exactly.
Right.
I worked for 34 hours straight, and then I finally get home at like 9 o'clock at night, like 10, and I'm wide awake. I didn't get to sleep till like 1:30 in the morning. So I was awake for like 39 hours or something. It's bad news. And then that was like 1:30 a.m. Saturday morning, and then I got called into work at 8 a.m. that next Saturday, the next day.
What?
And I had to work Saturday until like 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is not Gouda. I will tell
No,
you
that's not Gouda at all.
That is not cool, people.
Oh.
Oh.
So that's the bad news.
Right.
The good news is, got to play the Timeless Isle. Really dig it. really good stuff there. Ran around with Zarum. Zar Man About Town. Him. And, I got to check out the Timeless Isle. So the bad news is, the good news is I got to check out the Timeless Isle. The bad news is, due to real life, I was not able to do any flex raiding.
Flex raiding.
No, I just got to do the Timeless Isle. So I checked that out. I really dig that. Got over there with my monk, and it's kind of a good way to gear him up. Got some nice items that I don't need, but the eye level's great. You get the random ones.
Yeah.
But I really dig the Timeless Isle, actually. It was a lot of fun. So that's the only time I could play was that. So.
Yeah, I do know that on the Timeless Isle, man, you get all those 496 pieces for your alts. I mean, that is incredible. And I actually took my my Hunter Zug, who I actually haven't raided with throughout the Throne of Thunder at all. And so he was sitting at about 496-ish, 500 eye level, and did just fine cleaning up most of the mobs around the island. Obviously, the big ones are a little bit of a problem, but all the little guys kind of on the base part of the island, that was fine. And even going up another couple of levels along that path was okay.
Oh, I got a quick tip for you Timeless Isle players out there.
Sure.
Here's a quick tip. So last night in the Timeless Isle, there's a part on your map where it says like glinting chest. And in order to get to the chest, you got to jump on these like pylons, these little like statue things.
Oh, right.
And I saw like 8 people trying this and they weren't doing it. And I'll tell you why. I did it on try 2. The first jump is shorter than the rest, so dismount. And so regular jump. Don't mount jump for that first one and then mount jump the others.
Right.
I had like 8 people staring at me. They're like, how did you do that? So the first jump's real short. So that's the problem. They were all in their mounts. They're like, tally ho! They would just fly off. So do that and you'll be fine.
Yeah. I was having problems with that rope one. The one that's off of the ropes. Like as you approach, okay, so you get, that big long winding path that keeps on going up through the Timeless Isle. You get towards the end there, towards those last 2 bridges, and you have the ropes that kind of are scattered throughout. So you're supposed to go on one rope and then jump down and go at a 90-degree angle, and then you go for a little bit, and then you jump down again at another 90-degree angle to get to the chest. I made the first jump just fine. That second jump, though, I could not make. I tried 3 or 4 times.
Ooh.
I needed a priest buff at that point. I needed a little slow fall or something.
Yeah,
some
that's
people
the
are saying
trick.
Goblin glider.
That's the trick. Just get a levitate or something, and you can jump across from the other side, and it's trivial.
So now I need to get engineering on my druid. Level that all the way up.
Just for this.
Right.
For those 300 coins.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
I don't know.
Exactly.
Hey, by the way, Darius, is that a Fell Reaver in your room, or is that just your squeaky chair?
Wow, that does sound like Fell Reaver.
It was Fell Reaver-ish.
At some WD-40. I was going to do it this morning, but I don't have any anymore. I don't know where it went to, so. Instead, you get a Fell Reaver.
So what have you been up to in the Timeless Isle, or actually just in WoW in general, I guess?
Well, I mean, the Timeless Isle stuff was good. Like Cole said, that place is a lot. The patch went live early on Tuesday. I was not expecting that.
Right.
It went live at 1:00 Eastern. I was in there. Got a group of 5 people together, and we all got our legendary cloaks within about 45 minutes.
Wow.
It was super fast. And then I spent the rest of that day and that night and into the next morning just playing that isle, just clicking everything and killing everything. And it was so much fun. I really like what they've done with that place. It's a lot of fun finding stuff and just finding like little hidden things and all the different named things, and it's a blast. And I love that it feels so full. It's not a big island, and there are just people everywhere.
Well, especially right now.
Yeah, and I think that's great. It feels epic, and yeah, it's a little frustrating when I'm trying to, farm a specific rep or kill a specific guy or whatever. But other than that, I love that a rare spawns, and you got 10 seconds to get there and hit it, or it's dead.
Yeah. By the way, that was me with the ghost pirate ship or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
The ghost ship that spawns every hour or whatever. And I was on the other side of the island, and somebody goes, "Oh, it's up," and I'm like, "Okay, I just need to mount up and go over there." And I was like charging it, and I was like really trying to go, and I'm like, "Oh," and I missed it by like 5 seconds.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
I like one of the other things I like too is because our server's so alliance dominated.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it seems like when a horde person comes onto the isle, I think they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna PvP here," and they turn on PvP, they flag themselves, and they're dead within nanoseconds.
Probably not the best idea.
It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
It's so fun to watch. It must happen on accident too, because you'll see someone do it like near a quest giver with 30 people around them.
Ooh. Right.
And you'd be like, "Oh, look, here's this squishy holy priest."
Very nice. Oh,
but I'm digging it. And then to Swiss topics a little bit. I'll talk about Proving Grounds.
Did you say to Swiss topics?
This cheese joke is really not.
I dig it. I dig it, Darius. See, he's got my back. You see that, boy?
This cheese joke just will not end. What is going on?
Yeah.
So Proving Grounds are a lot of fun. I mean, they're challenging in the way that they should be challenging and frustrating in the way they should be frustrating. You got Tank that'll pop his cooldowns too soon sometimes, or you've got a Hunter that loves to stand in fire as a healer. They're good. I like them.
Yeah,
I like what Proving Grounds have done.
Yeah. How far did you make it into the Proving Grounds?
I got my priest is done silver for both DPS and healing, and then I tried doing the healing one as a DPS, and got angry at it and left. I was mostly getting angry because I thought it was a bug, but it turned out it wasn't. Where my legendary meta wasn't proccing, my legendary cloak wasn't proccing. As a priest, my Hymn of Hope, which gives me back mana, that wasn't working for a while.
Right.
That actually was a bug. But that was getting kind of annoying. So then I stopped and I went and clicked more things on the Timeless Isle.
Right. I know that I stepped in there with my druid, and by the way, I have something else to say about druids when it comes to the cloak. But I went into the Proving Grounds on my druid to heal, and I went through silver, no problem. And then I came back later and tried gold, and I got through like the 8th round or whatever, and ran out of mana essentially. And so now I have to rethink how to do more mana conservative heals or something.
You gotta. It's all about mana management,
right?
Specifically, the fact that all your gear's scaling down to 463. So the first time I went in on my priest, as a Tis priest, I don't run with much mana, about 8 or 9k normally,
right?
And it scaled it down. I had about 2k spirit, and I was like, why am I not regenning?
And that's not enough. So it's like you gotta think about how you attack gold rounds for sure, because that's when you start running out of juice if you're just gemmed normally for raiding. So maybe you need more spirit stuff on. I don't know.
Yeah, I had to reforge and regem a bunch just to make it through, because you get in there and you get into those later rounds and your DPS are all standing and stuff, and you're trying to heal quickly, and then the monsters are hitting on your tank pretty hard, so you've got to keep him up too, and you're out of cooldowns and you're out of mana. So right. Yeah, it's not easy, man. It's not as much of a pushover as I thought it was going to be on the PTR. On the PTR, I didn't really have many problems. I was just like, oh yeah, sure, whatever.
I think that's a good thing, because even the chat room, they're saying that gold is actually pretty tough. So I'm glad that there's a bit of a challenge there. That's good.
Me too.
That's good.
I also got my legendary cloak,
Woo!
And we heard Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the people's champion, he came out, and Oprah, she came out, and she goes, "Here, you get a cloak, and you get a cloak." And so it felt very much like the people's cloak. It was very nice.
Awesome.
It was very nice. But I was actually behind on the quests for the legendary, and I went through the last 2 rounds of Throne of Thunder as soon as the servers were back up, and I had 11 of 12 rune stones. I'm like, this is craziness. I don't like this. What is going on? And then I jumped into a flex raid with a couple of people. Well, like 10 or 12 or however many it was. And we got the first boss down, and I got another rune stone. Woo! So I got all 12, and then I was able to do all the stuff on the time of Sile that I needed to do, and then I got the cloak, and I'm like, yes, I have the cloak! It still feels good, by the way. Even though it's the people's legendary, it still feels good to have it.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a legendary.
And it looks like a legendary.
I mean, tell me about the legendary. How is it?
It looks like a legendary.
Have yours yet, right?
No, I had to work.
Right.
Okay, then let's
again.
not talk about it.
No, I want to tell you about one thing. So for the restos of the world, for all the healers, you get these wings that pop out of the back.
Woo.
And it looks really cool and all that kind of stuff. And as a druid, I have many different options on how it can look when those wings pop out. And so I tried it in bear form. And in bear form, the wings pop out, and it looks kind of weird, but it's cool, whatever.
Does it come out of your butt?
No. In bear form, it's fine. In cat form, it's fine. Maybe a little bit, off the back.
Oh,
where it pops
through
out.
The armpits?
No, like above the back.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
Because you're on all fours. So when you're in cat form, it looks a little strange. But when you're in tree form, this does not look right. It does not look right at all.
Right. The tree with wings.
The tree with wings would be fine if the wings popped out the way the wings are supposed to pop out, but they do not. The wings, I tweeted a picture earlier this week of my druid with the wings popping out, and the wings popped out sideways and out of my butt. What? It popped sideways, so it was vertical.
Yep.
And out of my butt.
Wow.
This is not the way that a legendary should ever be displayed. Legendary anything should never display out of someone's butt.
No.
The one for shamans, if they go ghost wolf form, it actually procs out of their butt as well. It looks like butt wings. Like it's the base of their tail, sprouted wings,
Man.
and now their butt has wings.
Blizzard.
It looks like a Halloween costume gone wrong.
Come on, Blizzard. Let's go. It's horrible. I mean, but you know what? I'll take it because the cloak is still nice.
Cloak is still insane.
Nice. I know.
Now, how's the proc on it as healers? What happens?
Basically, what ends up happening is that all of your overheals are transferred to up to 5 people that need it around you, and it's awesome. It's like, especially for a druid, it's like the best cloak ever because we're known for our overhealing. And if we can transfer that to people that actually need it, our numbers, our HPS overall will go up, which is really good. And by the way, all the other changes to druid heals, I am in love with healing on my druid right now. Just in love with it. Because
good changes, huh?
Well, one of the best changes ever was that you can put efflorescence, the green circle of goodness. You can put that on your magic mushroom, essentially. So it'll center on your magic mushroom. Or you can actually have it, I guess, with glyphs, you can put it kind of around the room. But it's still on your mushroom. And that sprouts up, and that efflorescence, that green circle of goodness, stays there. As long as that mushroom is there, it will stay there, and it will continue to heal people. So you just, you put it on like a stack of people, and it just heals them right up. It's amazing.
Simple as that.
It's great.
That's great.
That's awesome. And then if that cape procs, then it'll spread some of that healing goodness around.
That's awesome.
And there is other changes too, but I'm in love with healing on my druid right now. So
I got to tell you, man, I don't have my legendary yet. In fact, I've actually still got a few steps to go. But it's like all the people that have it, like I feel like I'm not in the cool club now. You know what I mean? Like, and it makes me want to get it. Like I'm like, oh, I want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not in the club.
Right.
Everyone's got wings coming out of their butt. I got nothing.
And you're like, I'll take wings out of the butt. That's not a problem.
Right. The only thing I did was change my mage back to a panda. I did that this week. How's that for legendary?
Why? So you had it as a panda, and then you switched to human, and now you're back to a panda.
No, you're wrong. I went panda, and then I went to worgen, and then I went human, and now back to panda. I've got a problem. There's an issue here.
You really
I've got
do.
a real problem.
You really do. That's all right. We love
you.
You
got to get the cloak, though. The cloak's awesome. I have, on my priest, this entire tier, I have not actually healed. I have been playing Shadow on my priest. I've been DPSing. Right. And falling asleep, by the way. DPS is boring. But we have 4 healers on our 10-man raid team. We have 2 priests, a monk, and a druid. And I decided I would shadow so that we can give the monk, the druid, and the other priest who's playing holy / disc a shot. And that actually didn't work out either. We've actually been 2 healing, or almost 1 healing, just about everything. I don't know what the cloak has done to monks, but monks are out of control right now. The numbers they're outputting as healers is just nuts. It's crazy. But yeah, so I've been DPSing as a shadow priest, and that cloak is awesome. You know, you see, especially in the Timeless Isle, I'll see an ad. It's got 5 million health, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Ain't right. It's dead before it reaches me.
Really?
You know, it's just when it starts proccing, it's just destroying things.
Yeah.
That's
well, and
awesome.
plus you have some buffs on the island that can proc too, in which case you can like 2-shot some of these mobs and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. Yeah. And then but there was a change with the cloak, wasn't there, Darius? When they dropped this live last week, we talked about if you have both cloaks in your bag or whatever, when you get the legendary, it should upgrade both in your that you have on you. But that's not actually the case. They fixed that on live, correct?
That's how it was working on the PTR. Now it's all you have to do is just you can buy a second cloak now, and you can for 87 gold buy an item which will upgrade your second cloak. So it's not going to automatically do it, but for a minimal fee, he'll do it. And the nice thing is, it will auto upgrade it 2 of 2, so you don't have to spend Valor to upgrade them.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well, look at that.
So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, and there are some other changes that we'll get to too. But first, what I want to do is before we get into news, last episode we had a conversation about the release date for LFR, people being vocal on the forums, and some of you guys wrote in. Actually, we had a lot of letters come in, and some wrote with Darius is a jerk, or Coltrane's wrong, or whatever it is. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But we thought we'd take a look at some of the points that you guys made. And first up, I want to get to this one. It's from Darkesta from Argent Dawn. And she wrote, "Thank you, Coltrane. I've been playing since BC and never did a raid until Dragon Soul thanks to the introduction of LFR. It was so much fun to see the raid and to fight Deathwing. I went from never raiding to being an LFR raider, and I loved it. I'd love to try some normal raiding, but my schedule changes, and frankly, it's intimidating, which, I can understand. I'm hoping to try to get in some flex thanks to cross-realm grouping. Wish me luck. Darius, you show a little contempt for those of us who don't raid outside of LFR, but I forgive you." And I think that's kind of... I don't think that's true, right?
No, I don't hate people that run only LFR. I definitely don't. I definitely think that LFR has a really good place in the game. It's done a really good job, and I don't think lesser of anyone that can only do that or anything like that. I think that's been a misconception across some of the shows. I don't think you're a bad WoW player or a bad person because you can only do LFR.
Right. And I know we've said that before, but I think we should say that all the time, is that we like everybody just fine. It's just we have different opinions about how this game rolls out, and that's okay.
And my opinion on the LFR rollout and the way people have been reacting to it, I think one of our writers that I'll read, or one of us will read later on, better articulates the way I'm feeling. And
Sure.
than I've been able to on the show. As you said last week, words are hard.
Right, they are hard. They are hard. So to continue with Darkesta's letter, it says, in any case, you said that there's no reason to keep playing once an LFR raider downs the last boss because we don't have anything to build up to. And she says, no way. Although I won't have best in slot gear, I will have best I can get in slot. I may not be gearing up for heroic raiding, but it is a lot of fun to have the best stuff possible and feel powerful. As far as the staggered release of Wings to LFR, I'm okay with it. There's a lot of other stuff to do and alts to play while I wait. I'll still get to fight Garrosh. So, a lot of good points from a more casual raider, and saying that just because I do it once doesn't mean that I won't try to get more and more powerful stuff. And I think that that's been one of the points that has been made with why loot is given out in LFR, pretty much the same stuff as normal and heroic, just lesser power, right? So people want to feel powerful. That's the way it goes. Now, Darius, you have another letter that we're going to read, right?
Yeah, so we got another letter. It's from Deeked in the Convert to Raid Guild, and he wrote, if we can just get to the top of the world on day one, like if we could kill Garrosh and LFR on day one of 5-4 over and over again, well, that might make some people happy in the short term because they get their fix right away. It really feels like less of an accomplishment if it doesn't require that much effort, and people don't realize that until after the fact. The challenge for Blizzard is to make those high-end accomplishments difficult, but not impossible, and give the majority of players a way to have fun in the meantime. It's fun to be able to look up to Method and Blood Legion and those guys, but then we can go in with our friends and smack our heads against Horadon or Tordos for a few hours a week. It doesn't come right away, but that makes the accomplishment more satisfying when you do get there.
Yeah. So, and I think that was one of the things that I was talking about, was if we release all this stuff right away, it could be it could feel kind of short, like, all right, I've killed everything.
Yeah, it's like I said on the show last week. If they release everything day one, then next week people are going to say, "What's wrong, Blizzard? Where's the next expansion?" And then 6 months from now, people are going to complain that they haven't done anything for 6 months. But if they take 3 months to roll it out, right. And on normals, you're working at kind of your own speed and maybe going into heroics and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's fine. And one of the points that I made on Legendary this week was that if we released all 4 sets of, let's just say that, let's ignore the normal and heroic lockout together. So we'll just have everything on a separate lockout, all the different difficulties release. That's 56 bosses, people.
Right.
How is that not overwhelming for some? I mean, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
So I'm okay with it. And Coltrane, we have another letter, correct?
Iron Weakness on Hydraxis wrote, your conversation touched on something near and dear to me, both within the game and outside of it. And that is the acknowledgement of excellence. I am not a hardcore raider. I've done some normal raiding, a few post-nerf DS heroic attempts, but mostly LFR. I am an average raider, maybe even a little below average. But I wholly agree with Darius and can sympathize with his frustration over the stigma placed on heroic raiders by what I believe is only a vocal minority of casuals. Effort and skill should be rewarded. Those who have accomplished something great because of these should be acknowledged and praised by the community, even if the rest of us are unable to do the same, either because we lack the skill or the time. It isn't fair play that drives most of these folks who complain about the unique rewards given to heroic raiders. It's jealousy and bitterness that someone else has what they cannot obtain. I'm not saying fail the raiders who lack the time or natural talent to build on for heroic raid success. But if the best they can do is flex or LFR, then that's fine. As Darius said, no one needs to pretend to be more than they are. That's the real definition of humility. Having a realistic picture of your own strengths and weaknesses and accepting them with grace. So what I say to the heroic raiding community is well done. Continue amazing me with your skill and dedication. And to the LFR raiders, I say you are the skill level you are, no more, but no less. Be happy with your accomplishments and the rewards they earn you. Strive for more if you can. Learn to be content with what you have, and if you cannot, do not rob the heroic raiders of their rewards. Be happy for them. They've sacrificed a lot to get where they are, as do all great men and women, whatever their craft.
I feel like there should have been some kind of like patriotic music behind you or something. I don't know. That was a very eloquent letter, I thought. And there was actually a lot more to it. I had to pare it down for the show because, I mean, it was a block of text, but it was very well written. And thank you for writing in. And thank everybody for writing in, really. Lots of good points, lots of great viewpoints from people. Obviously, we're three people and we have our own opinions and you have yours and you wrote them into the show and we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much. And I don't think we need to necessarily comment on any of this stuff, but I think that all of these viewpoints, are valid, have their place. And we just all need to figure out how to make these conversations constructive. And I think that you guys have done that.
Yeah, this is a good thing. It has created conversation. It's created back and forth. It's just that when it devolves into something personal or unsubstantiated, that's when the whole conversation breaks down. But so far, things have been good.
Right.
So let's keep it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a divisive topic. I'm not gonna, it definitely is kind of one of those things that really divides the population of WoW players into something else, and everybody has their opinion. So thank you for writing those in. And now, let's get to the news. Oh, hold on a sec. What happened?
You hit the button.
I know. I need to hit the button. Where's the stupid stuff? It says it's playing, but it's not playing. Why isn't it playing? Oh, never mind. I figured it out. Here we go.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is raiding news.
Now it's time to check out what's happening with raiding news around the World of Warcraft. First up, with patch 5.4 dropping this week, it opened up normal modes and, of course, the first wing of Flex Raid, which contained the first 4 encounters. And we kind of talked a little bit about this. Coltrane, you have not been able to experience Flex yet, correct?
No!
And you're not bitter about that at all.
No!
So, Darius, what did you think about, you've done both normals and Flex, right?
Yes.
And where are the casuals at right now in normals?
In normals, we are on the 7th boss, which is the Dark Shamans.
Wow.
Woo. And we have one
Nice
more
work.
raid night tomorrow.
Here,
So
I'll give you some big applause for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Doing well. And you've done LFR a couple of times, right?
I have not done LFR at all.
I'm sorry, not LFR, Flex. You've done Flex a couple of times. I'm getting
Get with it,
confused.
Pat.
I'm getting confused.
Come on, Zug.
But you've done Flex a couple of times, right?
Yes, yeah. So I did Flex on both my Priest and my Druid, so I tanked it and DPS'd it.
Cool. What are your overall impressions of this raid so far?
I love the fact that we're going. One, to start at the beginning. I love the fact that the entrance to the raid is right outside the shrine.
There's not much flying involved.
Yeah, I don't have
That's
to fly
fine.
halfway across the world, or even I don't have to wait to get summoned. I can just Hearthstone there.
Right.
It's thank you, Blizzard, for sticking it right there.
Right.
But I do like that it goes. It follows the story, which it should have. Going underneath the veil and then going to Orgrimmar, and I love the location so far. I think it's so much fun. It's so interesting to be raiding in the middle of Orgrimmar, where normally you've just got a bunch of trade trolls on their mounts, being annoying,
dancing on the mailboxes.
Yeah.
All that kind of good stuff.
Summon those drakes right around the mailbox. You can't even get to it.
Right,
Anyway, sorry.
right.
Yeah, I want to kill that guy.
Right,
I am
exactly.
a little disappointed that when you get into Orgrimmar and you kill all the trash, you can't, the auction house doesn't reopen, but the guild bank does, which is kind of odd.
Weird.
You're kidding.
And so you can use the guild bank that's in there.
Are you serious?
Got to kill all the bankers first, but
But yeah, it's
still works.
it's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to get deeper in there and see, because it has this very War Machine, very like oppressive,
Right.
feeling going on, and I think it's a lot of fun.
Right.
Some of the NPCs are fun. Jaina plays a big part at the beginning. but well, she thinks she's playing a big part, but she's really all not that helpful.
She's not very helpful at all.
No, one of them is on the what, fifth boss, I think it is, Galacross. Galifianakis, yeah.
Zach Galifianakis is the fifth encounter.
When you go to that boss, she's like, "Here, I've got a portal for you to help you get you to shore or whatever." But then when you wipe, instead of giving you a portal like close to where you zone in, you have to run like all the way through the raid entrance to get to her lame portal that she put all the way at the end, which then takes you another 50 feet.
Nice.
Jaina.
Nice.
Come on, Jaina.
It's not really
New Dave.
And then there's Anduin is in there as well. I think it's Anduin or Variant, one of the two. They look the same now. And he's supposed to help you on one of the fights as well, except he starts taunting things, and he's part of the fight. If he dies, you lose. And when he's taunting everything, it's kind of hard to keep him alive.
Right.
So luckily they hotfixed that, but that was kind of annoying. It's like, thanks for helping, I think.
Thanks for not helping at all. Awesome. Thanks a lot. Jerk.
Don't worry. Follow me.
Oh, man. Right. I know that I was so before the show I looked on WoW Progress for our realm, because it's like this week is like the preparation week for all the heroic raid teams, but I always look kind of at our realm and I'm like, okay, so how is our guild doing? And we have a lot of co-guilds on the realm, and I was looking and I'm like, out of the top 10 we have half of the guilds are convert to raid. So that's awesome. So congratulations all the convert to raid guilds. Woo! For your efforts.
Well done.
That's cool.
Congrats to the convert to raid guilds for actually raiding.
Converting to raid.
That's right. I think it's like 70. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, how many raid teams? Over 70,
it's like
right?
70. It's somewhere around there. It's crazy. It's all sorts of craziness. Yeah. And, I obviously there are other guilds on the realm as well. There's one that's 12 out of 12 that I know of, a 25-man.
Alone, yeah.
Yeah, alone. They're great.
Right now, yeah.
They're amazing.
They
so they've always been, top 50, top 100 in the U.S. anyway, or in the West. Now they have it broken down on WoW Progress for 25-man and 10-man, and then it says West.
Yeah.
So
they were saying we have 78 raid teams.
Jeez.
In the convert to raid community. That's awesome.
That's a lot.
So if you're looking for a raid team, we got 78 reasons to join one.
Oh my gosh.
Holy
At
cow.
this point, if you can only raid alternating Thursdays from 12 to 12:30 p.m., there's a raid team for you.
Yeah, there might be at least a flex raid.
Yeah,
that's right.
So there's something. Who knows? Now, okay, let's talk a little bit about what heroic raiders are going through this week, because, like I said, this is prep week for heroic raiders like Blood Legion and Method and stuff like that. And Darius, since you've had this experience in your life, what
raiding
is
with vodka?
Yeah, raiding with vodka and with who else were you with? God, I don't even know.
Exodus.
That's right. Both of which are no more because you left.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's right.
Because you left, they're no more.
That's right.
But now, how do heroic raiders prepare this week? What are they doing?
So it's a lot of raiding. I mean, with full Throne of Thunder gear and everyone having the legendaries, these fights aren't hard for them at all.
Right.
Garrosh presents a bit of a problem, but that's mostly mechanics and whatnot. So it's a lot of just. Let's see this fight. Let's see it a couple times. Let's read everything again. Click on every debuff. How have things changed from the PTR to normal? What do we know about the heroic fight? How is this going to change on the heroic fights? Things like that. And then it's a lot of. Go ahead.
Do they try to practice some of the heroic methods maybe that they've learned on the PTR?
If it's possible, yeah. If it's positioning and can we tank this boss over here in this corner and maybe mitigate or negate this entire mechanic, that will help us on heroic. If this thing hits much harder on heroic or something like that, how can we deal with this? But it is a lot of practice and figuring out. But for the most part, it's running all of your alts through too.
Right.
We had a great method that we'd use in Exodus where we would kill a boss on normal, or we would kill a boss with our mains, then we would kill it again with our alts, and then we'd kill it again with our alts, and again with our alts. We'd kill it 3 or 4 times, and then we'd go to the next boss and we'd do the same thing. That way all of our tunes are on the same boss. They all have the same exact lockout. And if we need, say we need more priests for one fight, well, we don't have to worry about weird lockouts or anything. We just swap tunes around, and you just do it 4 or 5 times until you've cleared the entire place 5 times. You've killed 70 bosses or whatever it ends up being.
And now, did you guys also do? I keep on hearing about, and especially Midwinter, I heard about those guys using 5 teams to run their mains and their alts through, and to try to optimize drops. What they were doing is running with maybe like a few of their mains for different armor types, right? And then everybody else would be on alts. Is that the way that you would normally run something like that?
Yeah, you want to maximize the effort you're putting in. And when it's normals and it's not requiring that much effort to kill the boss, you want to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. It's you're only going to get 5 pieces of gear on 25 man, but you don't want to waste a single one of those pieces.
Right.
You want to make sure everyone is going to get something that they need and beneficial, so that next week when heroics come out, you are hitting it as prepared as you possibly can be.
Sure. So how much time were you spending at the beginning of a patch like this, the week before heroics, on just raiding?
The week before heroics is a little lighter. You might only do like 4 or 6 hours a day. But then once heroics hit next Tuesday, it's 60 hours a day.
Right. So I know it's craziness. But now, what else are they doing this week in order to prepare for next week, I guess? What else are they expected to do?
It's sleeping, it's theory crafting, it's figuring out, especially like, let's say Resto Druids, they've changed a lot. We'll figure out how to play it, make sure that next week there is no, you're not still figuring out how to play your class. A lot of classes had little changes, but sometimes those little changes mean a world of difference when you synergize it with something else. So, figure that out. Right. While you're running all this stuff, figure out why, if this combination of this spell now makes, your DPS go up another 10K when it didn't before and no one ever thought about it. Do those kind of things. Make sure you've got all your pots and your flasks and your food all ready. Right. Just come as prepared as possible.
It's going to be a long haul.
Sleep and stock up on frozen pizza.
And wow. Hot pockets. And
5-hour energy drink.
Yeah.
Which I got to tell you, that stuff works.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, that all-nighter I popped that at 2 a.m. Took me all the way to 6, no problem. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that in.
And then at 6, you wanted to pretty much die.
Right.
From
But that's all right.
from exhaustion. Ugh.
Right. But that's insane, Darius. Like, because you're right. It's like the amount of hours. I mean, just when you were talking about killing this raid just 5 times and how many boss kills, that to me is already like crazy. Like, holy cow. And that's just to gear up their mains for the big show.
Right.
When heroics hit. And then it's really like 18 hours. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's basically go until the boss is dead. I mean, if you're going for world first, you can't stop, because those 6 hours you take to sleep, someone else is raiding at that time.
Right.
And when you're talking, Europe and Asia, and those crazy Russian guilds, they're hours ahead of you already, because they're hours ahead in general. The time difference. So you've got to be hitting on it. And there are plenty of times where the difference between world first and world fourth was 20 minutes.
Jeez Louise. Wow. That's unbelievable.
Wow.
That's insane.
It's nuts, but it's the life you choose to lead when doing these sorts of things.
Right.
That's right.
That's awesome. I prefer watching. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I know. Me too, man.
It's great.
I get tired just watching too.
Right. I'm exhausted just hearing about it.
Right. All right. Well, let's go back to this week and to talk about normals and flex a little bit more. What do you think, Darius, about the difficulty level from boss to boss on normals?
It's obvious that they've learned their lesson from Tot and previous raids, where the second boss or the third boss is really, really hard, is a stumbling block. The bosses are obviously getting harder.
So you mean that they might have got it wrong on Horadon?
I mean, I don't want to speak for Blizzard, but
I think they've spoken enough on it. Yeah, I think they said, no, that was probably a misstep.
So going from boss 1 to 2, there's a slight progression in difficulty, and then the third boss a little more, fourth boss a little more. Each one requires a little bit more coordination and awareness. Now we did find something different with our group. We on the Galifianakis fight.
Yeah,
we had some problems with that. I think we wiped 4 times on that one, and that was where we were making the fight more difficult than it needed to be, and that was by not really paying attention to some of the mechanics and ultimately rushing through it. We had some problems at the end where we were rushing through it, and we ended up causing the boss and ads to spawn at the same time and things like that. But that was, we had come off the previous 4 bosses where we didn't wipe. So then we get to that, and we're like, all right, let's blow through this. But then we get to the 6th boss, Iron Juggernaut, and we killed him our first pull with only 8 people. We had one person die very early on, and then die again shortly after that, and then our mage DC'd on the pull.
Wow.
And that boss was a joke. So, it's kind of...
So how do you compare that with like Throne of Thunder? I mean, did you, as far as with this same team, I know that you have some different players on there, but with this same team, essentially, how would you compare that with Throne of Thunder? I mean, obviously, Horadon and Council aside.
I mean, the progression feels good. It's the location is, I think, making up for it and making me enjoy it quite a bit, but it's normal, so it's hard to say. I mean, we have heroic Throne of Thunder gear. We all have the legendary, and it's ultimately it's normal. So it's really hard to gauge until we get into heroics when things actually start getting really hard.
Cool.
But I could see this for a group that hadn't done heroic Throne of Thunder, or maybe not everyone has the legendary or no one has the legendary. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's definitely, I can see the fights.
Cool.
I saw it in Flex quite a bit, where it's 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Things get a little bit more difficult, a little more challenging. You start seeing the healing numbers go up, and things like that. So it's I see people talking in the chat room about personal responsibility. That was kind of one of the things that they liked about the Lei Shen encounter in general. Blizzard did, and now are we seeing a little bit more of this as well in Siege? Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of mechanics that are, I'm going to put this thing on you and you have to step out of it, kind of thing, or you have to know when to go click on this thing, or things like that. It's a lot of like a lot of debuffs like pride and purification and things like that. Like, personal things you have to pay attention to and know when you need to do something.
Cool.
The raid leader's not going to be able to watch everybody and tell them what to do. So that is good. And if you've got a group that has good communication, those things will be a little bit easier for you. But it's they add more. Like I said, they get harder as they go. More and more mechanics get added, and
sure.
So far, it's been fun.
So now, how would you compare normal mode to Flex, or Flex to normal mode? It doesn't really matter either way. So let's take a look at Flex now, and how does that feel in comparison?
Flex to normals, Flex as it should. Flex felt a lot easier.
Right.
Flex was. I almost got an LFR feel to it, where for the most part, if you screwed up a mechanic once or twice, you weren't going to die. You weren't going to wipe the raid. But if you screwed it up that second or third time, unlike LFR, you're probably going to wipe the raid in Flex. Whereas normals, the first time you do it, you're probably going to die. Or you're probably going to wipe the raid. All the mechanics seem to be there. So there's this same number of ads and the same number of debuffs that go out, and the boss does the same things as normal. So that's all there. But it definitely feels easier and has a less of a steep learning curve. So it's a good step between, I think. But I definitely did not get the feeling of epicness though, and of personal accomplishment from completing Flex. I felt like, all right, well, that was a good practice.
Sure. So it for you, it felt more like an LFR run or something like that, where you just kind of go through it, right?
Yeah, kind of, but like
a little bit more, maybe.
Like the chat room just said, someone can't go AFK in Flex, and you kill the boss. Whereas in LFR, someone can just so it's maybe like a hard LFR. it's a rating LFR. LFR is
Yeah.
can you push your buttons? Flex is can you at least not stand in stuff and listen to a raid leader? You're not going to be able to go into Flex without a raid leader.
Yeah.
Someone is going to have to call things out. Someone's going to have to take responsibility for the group.
Right.
And people are going to have to take responsibility for themselves. Now, they are lenient in some other ways, whereas if you go in with only 10 people, you still get 3 battle reses as opposed to 1, like you would.
Oh, that's awesome.
So there is, leniency there. The boss has significantly less health from what I saw in normals. One of the nice things is it does dynamically change too. So if someone DCs right before the pull, the boss's health will go down. You don't have to
that's awesome.
the group or anything like that.
That's good. That's good. And one of the things that I found out while I was raiding Flex is, we can still wipe on the first, maybe not the first boss is pretty easy for the most part. Second boss a little bit tougher. Third boss, more coordination is needed. So you can actually wipe on these things in Flex Raid for sure, but it doesn't feel like a huge struggle. And I haven't done normals yet. We're going to be doing those tonight with the Asparagus Initiative. So I'm looking forward to normals, and now I feel like I have practiced, at least gotten a feel for what these mechanics do and what I need to do as a raider. So hopefully that will make me better going into normals tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way for raiders to practice mechanics,
right,
and not get bad habits. LFR gives most players that only do that have a lot of bad habits that don't translate to the normal modes. Flex is going to be a good way to go in and practice. If your group is struggling on a boss and you're not quite there, go and do it on Flex and figure out, what you're doing wrong, because it's a little bit more forgiving there, and then you'll have no problem in normal.
Right.
It's interesting. An example would be the Stone Guard fight way back in the day.
Yeah.
In the normal raid, you have to tank the dogs separately, and they've got their own thing that tanks have to worry about. You've got that energy bar that's rising. You got to do this. You got to tank swap or, taunt and all that jazz. But in LFR, you literally can just bring them all together and just AoE them down.
Right.
You can ignore that mechanic completely. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that I really dig about Flex is that it's the same type of mechanics. It's essentially the exact same fight, just with lower health and lower damage. But everything else is the same. You have to do the fight how you're supposed to do the fight, how it was constructed to do. And I dig that because it adds that layer of challenge. I saw a lot of people we have like a convert to raid looking for groups. So many people were like looking for Flex Raid, this, that, and they were grouping up and it was with a raid leader.
Yeah.
LFR is great, but it's all random people. But in Flex, you've got like a raid leader. It's like a good kind of intro, into raiding maybe for some people.
Yeah.
In that first letter, they talked about how they were intimidated by
Right.
it. I think Flex is kind of a nice kind of intro way into it.
Yes. And I think it's really easy to pug.
Yeah.
And maybe we're a little bit different. We have all these raid teams like we talked about earlier, so maybe it's a little bit different for us. But I was on actually 3 different teams to kill these 4 bosses because I went through and I killed the first 2 encounters with one team, and then most of them had to split, and then so I grabbed another team, but they were kind of nearing the end of their run, so then we didn't get the 3rd boss down after a couple of pulls, and so they all kind of split up, and then Darius, you and I went through it the next day or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really easy to get into it. It was really super easy to get into it, and it didn't feel like a big issue at all.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, for a player like me with a crazy schedule, the thing that I love is on my calendar, I'm invited to a Monday night Flex team. Starts to like crazy late at night, which is actually good for me.
Right.
And if I can make it, great. And if I can't because of work or whatever, that's okay too. I'm not hurting and destroying the team if I can't make it. You know what I mean? I can show up. If I can be there, great. And if not, that's okay too.
Yeah.
So I kind of dig that for people that have erratic or crazy schedules. This is another way to kind of, get into raiding and in kind of a fun way. So.
And actually, it's kind of funny because they did a couple of things with Flex Raids this week. One of the things that they said this week, and this has been kind of known on the PTR, but we weren't sure how it was going to be released live, is that grouping in Flex Raids, you can actually have fewer than 10 people in your Flex Raid. You can have as few as 7 in the raid to start clearing trash and maybe try some of these encounters with only 7 people. Although maybe that's not recommended for some of the mechanics or whatever. But you can have as low as 7 players in the raid and start going through this stuff and start clearing trash and as you try to get more people into the raid, which is actually kind of cool. I think that this feels pretty interesting. And as we go through Siege of Orgrimmar, I'm sure that people will only have 7 players to see if they can do that, to clear all these different flex wings with just 7 people.
Yeah.
It'd be an interesting challenge.
It would be. And I got to tell you, the thing that really makes me happy is what Darius was saying. The progression seems right this time. People aren't hitting a wall at boss 2.
Yep.
You know, there was even a blue post about it where somebody said, so far the difficulty of Siege of Orgrimmar seems a joke. I feel like normal's undertuned. It's like we were running flex, one shot the first 2 bosses.
Right.
And they said tuning of the first few bosses in Siege of Orgrimmar is intentional. Keep going. It's going to get harder.
Keep going.
Keep going, baby.
Keep going. You'll have some issues down the line.
So that's good. It needs to be, I think, a slower progression, especially when you're forced to go down this linear progression. It needs to be slower. It can't be hitting a wall at boss 2.
Yeah,
and we saw what happened with
And
Thorn.
people were also on the forums talking about how flex mode was, the difficulty level was really not to their liking. It was like way too easy for them. And the community manager that responded to it took a look at their armory and said, yeah, you know what? Flex probably is not for you. I'm looking at your gear. You're over gearing this by a lot already. Probably not for you.
That's what a lot of see on these forum posts is people are like, oh my gosh, these bosses are jokes. These are normals. And they're in all heroic Thunder Forged gear. And like we one shot like the first 4 bosses. Like, come on, come on, Blizz.
Let's go.
Like, dude, like the normal average raider is not decked out in complete heroic Thunder Forged gear. They're just not. So it's just a funny thing. But
yeah,
I guess that happens.
It is kind of funny. Another thing one of the things that was changed with Flex Raids this week, by the way, is that they've changed the way that the lockout is going to go. It was where if you formed a new group, they would base what boss you started on by the person with the lowest progression. So if you cleared the first couple of bosses one day and then you come back the next day, but you have a different group and one of the people hasn't even been in there yet, you'd start on boss 1. So it's a little confusing. You got to make sure that everybody's at the same level and stuff like that. They said, and the post was, once again, this community has come together in a constructive manner to share feedback and suggest. I think this might be a little snarky, by the way. In a constructive manner to share feedback and suggestions, and we thank you for that. So I think that was maybe a little tongue in cheek, maybe, probably,
maybe.
But basically what they said now is flex rating is going to be based on the raid leader. On the raid leader's progression. So the raid leader says, okay, you know what? I've gone through the first couple of bosses in this wing. We're going to start on boss number 3. And you gather up a group and you say, yes, we're all at boss number 3 now. So, yeah.
That's how it should have been, because otherwise people are going to be left out. They're going to be like, well, we want to bring Dave, but he hasn't done these yet. And if we do, then we got to start over at the beginning.
And then Dave gets blamed for it.
Right, and then Dave doesn't get invited to go.
Right,
Dave wants to go.
Dave is a nice guy. He's a nice enough guy.
He's a very nice guy.
Right. Some people don't like Dave. It's fine. Yeah. It's fine.
That's all right.
It's okay.
But I think this is the way to go. I think this is how they should have done it. Sarcastard in the chat room said bad idea was bad.
Right.
And I think due to the constructive feedback that the community provided Blizzard, they made this change.
There was no trolling whatsoever, I'm sure.
Zero.
It's the forums. Nobody trolls on the forums.
Yeah, but this is good because the idea here is Flex is supposed to be another way to get people into raiding.
Right.
And to be able to be a part of an organized team. Like, that's what makes it fun. They always say raiding is social. It can be. It's great to do it with your friends, Yeah. So this way people aren't feeling left out.
Right. I think it's totally cool. And seriously, Flex raiding, I had high hopes for it. And I think that my high hopes are coming true.
That's great.
It seems to be this week anyway. Obviously, over time, we'll see exactly what happens. But man, I like it right now.
Good.
I'm in love with this thing.
We'll see when you got 14 bosses.
Right, exactly. Exactly. And Darius, you're cool with Flex. Everything with Flex was to your liking.
Yeah, I like the personal loot. I mean, I really like the fact that on my druid, we killed Immersius, and he dropped his staff, his agility staff for me.
Oh,
now,
nice.
I have been running on my druid with a 489 weapon since the first time we killed, I think, the
Lei Shi or something like that.
No. It's in Mogashan Vaults, the kings.
Oh, the Spirit Kings.
Yeah. Another weapon has not dropped since then. Horden's weapon never dropped for me.
Right.
I coined it every week, never dropped. And my first kill in Siege of Orgrimmar, I upgraded from a 489 to a 540.
Wow.
My level went up 7 points.
Wow. That's awesome. That's
an insane upgrade.
Great. Yeah, I was very happy.
That's awesome.
I bet.
Salute.
I bet. All right, let's switch back to Timeless Isle real quick because there is one complaint about the Timeless Isle. And that is that rep with the Xiao Hao is a little slow. It's a little slow. They did apply a hotfix, but I don't know if it's really all that much. Completing the daily quest Path of the Mistwalker now awards players with 250 rep with Emperor Xiao Hao. And unfortunately, you got to get, 3,000 to friendly?
Ooh,
yeah, something like that.
And
what was it before?
It's still 3,000, but the mobs that you have to kill only provide like 15 to 20 rep.
Well, that's
22.
Not the problem. I mean, it's grinding is tough. Like we had to grind for the Dark Prince, but it's the fact that they only spawn in one small area of the island, and everyone else is farming too. So you've got to get quick on your tags. If you're lucky, you'll get one, but other than that, you're just hoping that you can find a mob to hit.
Right. Ooh. And it's slow going. You need a group really in order to farm some rep because you need those extra guys to go and tag mobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fun.
All right.
Blizzard, that's not fun.
It'll get better as people start walking away from Timeless Isle or things like that. 250 rep a day isn't great. But
in the Blizzard post, they say it's definitely different from some of the more recent reputations added to the game, and harkens a bit more back to reps like Timbermaw and Hydraxian. Remember Timbermaw?
Yeah, man.
Back in the day, that was a slow grind.
You know, maybe I've gotten because I remember that Timbermaw grind.
Right.
In Hydraxian Waterlords. Are you kidding me? That was like back in the days of vanilla.
Right.
I remember I had to do that on my mage.
Yep.
But like, oh my
Timbermaw
gosh. Like, it's so funny because that was such a grind.
Yeah.
And here I am listening to this. I'm like, that's not fun, Blizz. But like, that's, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I've gotten used to like getting things quicker now. Now I'm like, oh, you can't give me a rep grind like Timbermaw. Are you crazy, Blizzard?
Timbermaw was really cool. And I remember when they changed the Timbermaw rep to be like, you get kill 3 guys, and all of a sudden you're friendly. Awesome. Yep. That was so great. I was like, I got done with Timbermaw rep in like an hour.
That was the one where you ran through the cave, and they were like they'd aggro you, and then eventually they were friendly.
Yeah,
neutral or whatever.
Exactly.
Now, I have a quick question. My question was: this new completing the daily quest now awards 250 rep with Emperor Xiao Hao.
Yeah.
What was the rep before?
I don't think it was doing anything.
I don't think you were getting any rep. From the quest. The quest isn't easy though. It's to kill 20 elites, and that takes a while.
Oh wow! And then you're only getting 250 rep.
Right.
Yeah, and you're getting a bunch of coins and some valor too.
Right.
Yeah.
This isn't Timbermaw. Unbelievable.
This isn't Hydraxian Waterlords.
That's right.
I can't. With Timbermaw, at least you could just turn in cloth every once in a while.
Ah, jeez Louise.
I don't know. So some people are kind of complaining about that, and I think that's well deserved.
Xiao Hao, they give you some sweet gear, I'm assuming.
It's the only gear, but it's not sweet gear. It's 496, I think. It's also the mount.
Oh, it's the mount.
It's a trinket that you can eventually get up to 530, 535, something like that. And for some of the classes, it's pretty close to your best in slot.
Right.
Oh, well, there you go.
Right. So yeah. All right.
That's a worthy grind.
Yes. It's not bad. I mean, you can buy things with coins too, which is another reason to go do the rep grind anyway. So I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Buy all that stuff with all the coins. Now
so
let's.
I do before we leave this. I do have one gripe about Siege of Orgrimmar.
Okay.
And that is when my group ran through, we got 2 trash drops.
Normal.
Yes, this is normal. Speaking of which, the trash drops can drop in flex. I didn't know that. And we got 3 or 4 things last night in our flex run that dropped off trash.
Wow.
Which
awesome.
is good. But we did it on normal, my group, and there was a bunch of good loot that only drops off trash or is shared loot or whatever. And we got 2 of those, both of which were cloaks. My entire raid team has the legendary.
Blizzard! Blizzard, what are you doing?
We killed 6 bosses. So we got 12 pieces of loot, and then the 2 that dropped off trash, we sharded 8 pieces of loot. Of the 14 we got, we sharded 8 of them. That was kind of a bummer.
Well,
it's a lot of sharding.
Well, you guys,
that's a big shard right there.
Right. Did you shard your pants?
That's with a D. That's with a D.
Well, Warlock did. Our Warlock didn't have his legendary on one of the trash pulls. He hadn't finished it yet. He finished it the next day, but he didn't have it then. And he wasn't in the group when we killed that trash that dropped the cloak. And he was pretty upset.
Oh, man.
We sharded it right in front of him.
Oh, jeez. Nobody likes to have somebody shard in front of them.
We made him watch.
That's right.
Awful.
It's poo!
Yeah!
All right, let's move on to another story. Now this kind of goes away from the game so much, but it does bring it to BlizzCon. Woo! The BlizzCon 2013 virtual ticket on sale now! Woo! It's on sale now! So you can go get your virtual ticket if you're not going to be able to be there in person, like the 3 of us are going to be there in person.
So
it's going to be awesome!
If I buy this and have a BlizzCon ticket, does that mean they send a virtual me to BlizzCon?
Yes. That'd be awesome. They
exactly
just
what it means.
Good.
Yes.
It's just a digital version of you. It's just a hologram of you.
I want my bear to go.
Oh, you want your bear?
Yeah, I want my bear to go to BlizzCon.
That'd be good. I'd like that. But along with the virtual ticket, you will also receive, when you buy that, you will also receive this year's BlizzCon exclusive in-game goodies for World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, Diablo 3, and Hearthstone. Those details have yet to be announced, but you will be able to get that stuff. And you'll also be in a fine place where you can buy stuff on sale through the store. So before the show. Nobody else will be available to buy that stuff.
See, this is great. See, they're adding more games, and that just means more goodies.
That's right.
more goodies. More goodies.
I know. I like that.
I love the goodies.
I do like the goodies.
I love the goodies. Chocolate cake. Eat so much, gonna tummy ache. It's so good. That doesn't make sense.
Oh.
It's so good. I can't wait. BlizzCon's coming up. Virtual ticket. Get some loot.
And I don't have an announcement this week, but I have an announcement about an upcoming announcement about possibly a convert to raid thing that's going to be going on at BlizzCon.
Oh, don't make that announcement.
I'm going to make an announcement about an announcement that we may have a thing at BlizzCon.
Wow.
And it may be on Friday. And it may be at a nearby place to the convention center.
Maybe.
It's going to be a dunking booth with me in it.
Yeah, it'll just be you. And it's not even a dunking booth. That's not a proper one because we just let people go up and push the button.
Yeah, but the button says LFR.
Right.
And you hit the button. And down you go.
Right.
Oh,
Darius is in the water again. Oh no. All right. Last up, and I thought we'd save this for last, as far as the news stories for this week go. And this is we're gonna spoil everything for those guys that don't like spoilers.
Whoa.
We're gonna spoil everything.
Wait, what?
We're gonna spoil everything. We always spoil.
What?
We always spoil everything. We spoil everything for everybody. This is our job.
You want them to fast forward?
No, I want them to listen.
Don't listen. It's
I want them to
spoilers.
listen, but I'm letting them know, just in case there's like one or two guys that don't want want the spoilers.
I don't want to know.
Oh, can we do like a countdown so they know when to hit fast forward?
But then how do they know when to come back?
Right. Exactly.
Are you going to wink at them?
Maybe I should play the
yeah,
outro
they can't
music
know.
right now. Here we go. So thanks a lot for listening. For those guys that are not going to pay attention to the spoilers, and we'll see you later.
You can follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane. You can follow Coltrane at the _ Coltrane.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to cut that. But we are going to talk a little bit about this stuff because it's interesting and it's cool, and there's stuff to actually talk about here. We're not big into story. We're not gonna tell you that Jaina's she's kind of being a little bit of a twerp in this.
Whoa.
Thing.
You're already getting me nervous.
She's angry.
happy
She's
with
angry.
Jaina.
She's angry. Jaina's angry, but we knew that Jaina was angry. Come on, we're not giving anything away when we say that, right?
No.
So as it turns out, there's not one, but there are actually two cinematics for the defeat of Garrosh. One for the Horde, one for the Alliance. They both have the same beginning and they have the same end, but they show a different little middle part where they have private discussions between the two groups, right?
Right.
And
Quick though.
and we'll get to that. We'll get to that part in just a second. But some of the really big news here? First of all, we don't.
Spoiler alert!
We don't.
Spoiler!
We kill Garrosh.
What?
We don't kill Garrosh.
Of course we weren't going to kill Garrosh. We
It's-
never get to kill anybody. It's
Instead-
always someone else that kills them or
Right.
saves them or
So-
whatever.
Instead, he's going to be like tried by the Pandarans
Yeah.
for war crimes or something.
Oh.
What gives here, guys? What's
They
going
got to have a sequel. They got to have Mop 2.
on? They're going to have Mop
Electric
2.
Boogaloo.
Yeah.
It's Mop 2.
There's got to be a sequel. He's got to break out of jail.
That's right.
Oh.
It's like
He gets-
the pandemic.
Garrosh
has
becomes
begun.
hardened in prison.
The-
and he-
That's right.
Wait, what was that, Coltrane?
I said the pandemic has begun.
Boo.
That's what it's gonna be.
Boo. That's boo. That's
man.
boo. Now, is this what you guys expected to happen? Is this what you wanted to happen? How do you feel about not being able to kill the baddie in this expansion? Coltrane, I'll throw it over to you, buddy.
I thought Taran Zoo was going to chop his head off.
I know.
Come on. I thought he was going to be back. He's like, remember me? And then that was going to be it.
Right.
Do some like that panda death move. And
then
down
he-
goes Garage.
And then in that one cutscene, or in that one cinematic, he was almost ready to fall in the water, and then his toenail touched it, and he shot up and punched Garrosh right in the chin.
That was awesome.
That was
awesome.
incredible.
And then he got shish kebabbed or whatever. That was insane.
Right. That was not good. That was
You kind of, I wanted him to die.
yeah.
But maybe that makes me a violent person. I don't know. But when they kind of haul him off, I'm like, oh, okay.
right.
What are they going to put him in garage prison? Like, what's going to happen there? I kind of wish that they, that would have been it. But then again, we got to think about life in the Pandaren. It's about life. It's not about death. It's about life. So maybe this is better in the end. We shouldn't kill. We should live and be free.
I still want him dead. I still want him dead.
I think they did the right thing. They took a guy that almost completely destroyed Pandaria and they put him in really flimsy chains. So, I mean,
That's true.
So he won't be able to just like flex out of him.
yeah. I think
flexes.
that's plenty. I mean, what more do you want?
He just
They look like
flexes and he
paper
runs away to Outlands. Outland.
They're like, now Garage, this time you behave.
I'm gonna give you a stern warning,
That's
and
right.
I'm
You're gonna sit in the corner.
right. And I'm going to no, that doesn't work.
They hauled him off. He went to Orc prison or something. I don't know where he's at. He's
Right.
on Alcatraz.
He's got a
Azeroth trial. I have no idea.
he's got a new defense team all ready to go.
Right. He's
got
going to
his-
lawyer up.
yes,
That's the
yes.
problem.
He's gonna
He's
lawyer,
gonna
up.
lawyer up now.
Right.
There's a good post on Reddit. Someone was pretending to be Garash's lawyer.
Right.
It
saw that.
was fun. It was they had cited all these different court cases.
Yeah. And they were trying to move the trial from Pandaria to Outland, I think.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is the lawyer shows up and he says, Garage, better call Saul. All right, that's bad. No. It'll be Better Call Thrall.
I'll just shake my head. I'm just shaking my head.
Can we mute him?
I think we actually can. Let me see. I don't know.
Anyway, go to the mall.
Oh man! All right, let's move on. So as I was talking about, we had two different versions of this cutscene, right? So in the Alliance version, Jaina, who is angry and bitter, tries to convince Varian Rin to end the Horde, end them. I think she said. Yeah. And earlier she was heard as saying, "Oh, where is it? I lost my spot now." She was heard as saying, "Here we go.
You want carnage? Garrosh will get more blood than he ever bargained for."
That's creepy. Woo. She's tough.
Lady's angry.
That's right. So of course that was a long time ago when she said that stuff. But so and then in the Horde version, Thrall is kind of positioned himself to come back as the leader of the Horde. But next thing we find out, the new war chief is
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
It's Gammon.
It's Gammon. No, it's Vol'jin.
What?
It's Vol'jin, the troll guy.
Oh my god!
Right.
That's outrageous.
Saw that coming.
Yeah, I know. I think everybody saw that coming. Did you? I mean, like I called it like a year ago.
That was a Blizzard tweeted. They were like, if you didn't see that coming, then we failed the last couple of years.
He's been around a long time.
Yeah.
So, guys, Easy Target in the chat room just said he's the right mon for the job.
I thought we muted him.
I'm hanging up my headphones now. I'm just gonna go away. I'm just gonna go away. We'll just chat room. Chat room. Okay, so now what did you guys think of these cinematics? Culture, let's kick it off with you there, buddy. I mean, you kind of know video stuff. What's going on?
Yes, I dig it, man. I dig it. I dig what they're flinging at me. I don't know, that's weird, but I really liked it. I like how there's separate little conversations, and Jaina brought up a good point.
Yeah,
she's like, "Hey, Varian, like all the leaders are right here, right now.
Yeah,
like we could take care of this whole mess right now.
Yeah.
We could end this thing now." So that kind of made some sense.
Yeah.
And, Varian, he's like, you know what? You're right. Gods! And they all, like, load up, and then he walks up, and you're like, oh, my God, this is going to go down.
Right.
But then it doesn't.
But then it's like every other soap opera in the world, and it just kind of ends with, well, I'll end this now, but you better watch it. I'm going to write a stern letter to...
You better be ready. I'm going to do this.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. To the Azeroth News, I'm going to write a stern letter about this. Right. And this will be noted. Okay, sir? This will be on the record. I'm letting you know.
People are going to know about this. So you're aware.
People are going to know about Garrosh's cruelty.
Right. Especially Pandaria, that hasn't been turned completely upside down.
Nobody knows up to this point.
No.
Nobody.
But it was cool, man. I really dug the cutscene. I thought it was cool. Now, my question is this. Now, Chris Metzen.
Yeah.
He does the voice of Thrall, right?
Yeah.
Isn't he also the voice of Varian Rin?
I don't know.
I think he is. There's a scene where they talk. I think he was talking to himself.
He was, yeah.
I think that he's also the voice of Varian. Because he kind of sounds like Thrall.
Might be.
Less
chat room is confirming you as being correct.
Right.
Yes. They're saying, yep, he is both.
That's fancy.
That is fancy.
He's got a great voice.
So you're saying Varian Rin is actually a traitor and a manifestation of Thrall.
That's right.
Right.
And the next expansion is actually Varian trying to take down the Alliance.
No, but my point is that I like it that there's two separate conversations. In the Alliance, they have their talk about dismantle the Horde. And then, meanwhile, when the camera pans over, you see the Horde, and they're having their little powwow.
But you don't know what's happening. But you don't know what's happening if you're on the Alliance side, right? So, do you think it's cool to have two different cinematics? I mean, Darius, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, that's what YouTube's is for. And you want to feel like your side is special, like you want to hear their side, your side of what's going on, and feel like you're part of it. And the Alliance just saved the world, or the Horde just saved the world, that kind of thing. Right. I think that the cinematics are awesome in that you get to see Jaina, who used to be this very Horde sympathetic person. She often worked with Thrall and, taught Anduin to not hate the Horde as much and things like that, is now just like, I hate all of you people. Look what you did to my hair.
Look what you did to my hair. I got a bad do.
And Variant, who's been the opposite of Jaina, almost let them go. Kind of. I mean, his comment where he says, some of you fought against Garrosh, I felt like that was kind of a cop-out kind of thing. It's like, yeah, some of you guys aren't terrible people, but most of you are pretty awful. So,
right.
You guys can go. Yeah, that's fine.
That's a definite character arc, though,
Yeah, and it was strange to see that change, that swap, like that.
Right.
But it was great to see Vol'jin as the war chief, and the look of shock on his face was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. That whole scene. And Vol'jin just looks awesome. He just looks really scary and intimidating, and that was just cool.
I speak for the Horde.
It was obvious from the cutscenes, though, that Blizzard likes the Horde better than the Alliance. All of the Horde factions were represented.
Yep.
And of the Alliance, there were no Worgen and there were no Draenei.
Wasn't it just human? Wasn't it all just human?
It was, no, there was a gnome in there.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
I didn't see the gnome.
Well, that answers that clearly. Blizzard hates Alliance. There it is.
Blizzard doesn't like the space. What are they? Space goats.
Space goats.
It's better than Space Ghost. At least you didn't say that. Just a little side here. When I brought my wife into talking about WoW, I told her about Space Goats, but she would always call him Space Ghost. I'm like, no, that's a different character altogether.
But equally as awesome.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. All right. Anything else about the cinematics that you guys want to bring up? I thought it was pretty cool. And you can go check it out. They're both on MMO Champion right now, which is where they're normally released, I think. Those guys get everything. Those guys get all the videos. All right. Let's go into some Leading the Raid.
Leading the Raid.
When we can, we take a look into leadership issues for raid leaders everywhere. Now, this week we take a look at a listener question, and it doesn't come from a raid leader, but it does seem to fit here just fine, and I think you'll see why in a second. Coltrane,
yes.
You want to help read this thing?
You got it. This is from Anonymous, and I won't read it as dramatic as the last one.
Do you need some underscored music or something?
Right. If I could get some fife and drum, then I could really get into it.
I'll see what I can do.
Maybe not for this one.
All right.
Hello all at CTR. I found myself in a troublesome situation with my guild and raid team. I like everyone on the team and enjoy raiding with them, but their attitude towards progression just doesn't seem to line up with my own. People often show up to progression raids not having read about the fight or even watched a video. So we waste 10 to 15 minutes to explain the fight to them, then another 5 to 10 polls so everyone can understand the concept of the fight before we can all try to actually learn the fight. We waste time before polls just standing around for no reason, and I often have to prompt the raid leader to start the poll. There are other problems too. Members being paralyzed by the fact that their add-ons aren't all the way up to date yet, and an extremely defensive main tank that could blow up at anyone at any time. I have expressed my concerns over all of the above points to both the guildmaster and the raid leader. Both have assured me that they want to focus more on progression this tier. I've been with this guild through tier 15 and can't see much difference between this new tier and the last. My question for you guys is this. Am I expecting too much too quickly?
I'm playing the fife and drum music. By the way. Go ahead.
Should I give them more time to get things together? I don't expect them to be the top heroic raiding guild on the server, but clearing all the heroics in advance of any nerfs would be nice. 2 if I land! What the fuck? If you guys think I should move on, then my question is, how do I go about telling my guild master and raid leader that that's what I want to do? What's the correct etiquette, I guess? I know it takes time to get into a serious progression guild. Is it unreasonable to ask to be allowed to continue raiding with my current guild until I find a more progression-oriented guild? Do I even tell them I'm applying before I know I've gotten in? The other thing I'm worried about is the fact that I'm new to the game. I started OP and have never raided heroic before. But I also don't have any old stuff for a raid team. This music's really getting to me.
Here, I'll shut it off. I'll shut it off.
I'm confident. I'm
oh.
confident that my current guild will get to heroics at some point. Is it worth waiting to see what it's like before jumping ship, or do I just dive right into heroic progression?
Wow, the music really changed you.
Really? Woo!
All right, so we have
veins.
So we have kind of this long letter, and thank you very much, Anonymous, if that is your real name, and thank you for writing it. But so we have an issue with kind of the time between pulls and what those pulls mean and all that kind of stuff. Darius, let's shoot it over to you, buddy. What do you think about this?
In this situation, you're not the raid leader. You've expressed your concerns with the raid leader and with the guild master and all that stuff, and you're still not having fun. I think you should find another raid team.
Okay.
This isn't a raid team for you. It's your enjoyment against what's going on, and you're not enjoying it. So
right.
Look someplace else. Saying that you don't have any alts isn't a bad thing. You started in MOP doesn't mean too much. There are teams out there. There's plenty on Airy Peak. This is not yours. Now, as far as how do you tell them, I'd say just be honest with them and say, I'm not enjoying this. This isn't the level of progression I was looking for. This is, maybe it's too casual.
And maybe, this isn't what I expected in my conversations with you too.
Yeah,
I mean, tell them, because these guys need to know, right? I mean, they're the leaders of the guild and the raid, and I'm sure that they would need to know all this stuff. And I think that we're all kind of in agreement here with this stuff, right, Colt?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's you got to be having a good time, and if you're not, you're going to get more and more frustrated. Every pull, every time you show up, you yourself are going to get angrier and angrier at the littlest tiny things, and it's going to get to a point where they could be not screwing up anything, and then one does one little thing, and you're just going to explode. So just really, I think you should move on to another team. You need to be having a good time and enjoying yourself. So you're just going to explode.
Whichever one of my raid members wrote this email, I would have preferred if you just talked to me.
Right. So now let's talk about it from a raid leader's perspective. From a raid leader's standpoint, what do you think if you're a raid leader and you're looking to kind of shape up your team a little bit more? What can you do to do that? Now, Darius, what do you think about that?
Now, I mean, you can, if you've got enough people, if you've got 12 people, say, on your raid team, or you've got some backups, you can start sitting people that don't show up prepared. Or, maybe start a half hour early and just explain things, or, use forums or something like that. Post good videos, good analysis, good theory crafting. Get as much of that stuff done before you actually pull. But if your entire raid team is of the mentality where this is acceptable, then maybe there's not much you can do. This is how they want to raid. That's totally fine. It's if it's one person that's not enjoying it, then maybe that's not the raid team for them.
Right. Colt, anything that you have to say about raid leaders that want to shape up their crew a little bit?
It's a tough thing because, see, a raid team is made up by the raiders, not the raid leader.
Right.
The idea is that the raid leader sets the tone, and then hopefully the team around you is with that tone. You know what I mean? They all kind of come together as one. Right. But it's a thing of, if the raid leader wants to be hardcore, but the members that show up, on time are not, then, the raid leader's kind of in trouble. So I think the way to do this is, like Darius was saying, maybe it's like you almost have to threaten, like, all right, look, we're going to have to sit some people. You're not showing up. You're not doing this, doing that. We're going to have to sit you because this is supposed to be a more heroic progression raid team. But it's the hardest thing too. But you got to find those raiders to fill those spots. You don't want to be a raid leader that says, I want this, and then next thing you know, you don't have any more raiders. You don't have a team. Yeah. A raid leader with a team is not a raid leader.
No, they are an LFR only raider at that point.
Right?
I mean, really. Yeah, and I do think that, as a raid leader, one of the things that you can do, one of the things that maybe you should do, is address the team on your raid night at the particular time. Make sure everybody's there and say, listen, we are trying to do more progression. This means that there is going to be a new attitude coming from me. This means that there's more work for you. Is everybody on board with that?
Right.
And if they're not, I mean, this is their chance to say, you know what, this may be not my thing anymore. And that's okay. That's
Right.
okay. But I think you just need to be honest with your raiders at that point and say, I am trying to do more heroic progression, and I can't have people that are sitting around jibber jabbering all the time and not paying attention to what's going on.
Jibber jabbering.
You know what I think it is, man? What I think it is that it's not the raid leader that's got to get everybody pumped. It's got to be the raiders. And the reason is this. The raid leader is looked at as that's the raid leader. Right. But if the whole team agrees, if they have this meeting and everybody agrees, yeah, we're going to be more heroic progressed. For me as a raider, it's like I don't want to disappoint my fellow raiders. If my other raiders are like, yeah, we're going to do this, then I'm going to do it for them. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's in marching band, right? You got the band director, right? He's yelling and screaming at the marching band. But the individual trombone section leader, he's the one that's got to fire up the trombone players. Right. He's the one that's going to make the trombone players practice, not the band leader. Yeah. Because you're all part of that. You're doing it together. You're making your trombone section leader feel good, and everyone's together. We're all in this as a team. I'm not reciting an old marching band thing that I might have gone through in high school here, but I'm just saying it helps if everybody rallies together as a team and versus the band director. Right. Because you're always against the band director. But the section leaders, they're... And I'm going this to a dark place. I have issues with marching band in high school.
I'll bail you out here, buddy. So from the chat room, from Agony, I see gambling all night. Okay, now this is one of the things where the raid leader should step in. If you guys are doing the gambling thing, what is it? What is the add-on called, Darius? I can't remember.
GCG, Gentlemen's Club Gambler.
Yeah, so if you see that, and I've had to do this with my team because back when I had my my daytime team, half the guys worked at a casino, so they had issues with gambling already. And so then they would do this between pulls. And at one point, we were wasting too much time on that stuff. And I said, guys, listen, let's not do the gambling thing until we kill a progression boss. Then I will let you have your role and be able to, lose thousands of golds to all of your friends and be okay. But until that happens, let's just knock it off with the gambling thing. And they respected that. As a raid leader, you can make those kinds of calls and hopefully cut back on that amount of time and the chatter, of course, which is always difficult. But it's fine. Fine, I'll stop. That's what Darius says. I don't know. Hopefully that's helped raid leaders and hopefully that's helped Anonymous.
Inspire your team, man. Everybody positive. Inspire them. They'll get fired up and then they'll do it.
Yep. And I do think that has to be the last question of the show. We had some other ones that I don't think we'll be able to get to. We just don't have time. We ran out of time.
Yeah, I was talking about trombone stuff. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Let's do a little bit of, hey, you know what we didn't do, Darius? Well, what's your job on the show?
To fall asleep? To make everyone hate me.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Yes, that is correct.
No, I'm talking about 5-star reviews.
5-star reviews.
So now I got to open
stall. I'll do them right now.
I'm going to stall. I got a shout out.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes. And I'm not doing this to stall.
Let me I'll get the music going. All right.
Svensson.
Yeah.
In our lovely chat room, it's his birthday today.
Oh, Svensson.
So happy birthday to Svensson.
Happy birthday, Svensson.
Happy birthday,
That's amazing.
Svensson.
It's my sister's birthday tomorrow. And then it's my dad's birthday in a couple of days. It's really weird how that worked out. So, happy birthday to my sister and my dad who do not listen to this show.
Right.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But let's give a shout out to those that gave us a 5-star review over the last week or so. Darius, what do we have?
You have The Furies. That's plural, so there's multiple there.
All right.
Sunbracer and Eeyore313.
Eeyore. Everybody loves Eeyore. He's a bit of a downer, but everybody loves him.
I think I'm going to take back the Furies one because he said Colt has amazing fortune cookies.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
We'll discount that one.
Yeah.
I think that one is not going to happen. Any other shout outs or anything this week, guys?
I heard people laugh so hard at my fortune cookies they were blue cheese in the face.
No. No. And with that, I'm ending the music. The music is ending because of that.
You're just gonna
I'm gonna
end
bail.
the music there.
I'm gonna bail out of it. That's right.
Gonna bail out.
That's right.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's get out of here.
Good. I apologize.
I'm going to play this music. We cannot do this show without you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to rate us on iTunes. And thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the questions. Please feel free to join in on all the conversations we're having at any time. And I really do mean this. You can email us at converttorate@gmail.com. You can call us and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. You can follow us on the Twitter at converttorate, or what are the individuals there at Coltrane?
You can follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane. You can follow Coltrane at _Coltrane. And you can follow Dairies at Board Mine.
Right, and if you can't spell our names, head on over to the Bazooba Nation over at converttorate.com, where we have show downloads, forums, tons of links for raiders, and so much more, and a new site coming soonish.
Yeah, ish.
Soonish. I said soonish. We're working on it. We'll see if we can get it up. And that's all over at converttorate.com. Our show is available on Stitcher, BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iTunes, all sorts of different places like that. The Convert to Raid podcast is produced and distributed by Signals Media. Make sure to check out all of our friends, please do, over at the Signals Media All-Star Network at signalsmedia.com. Like our good friend, the Revan Geek. He's actually going to be on the end of the show, too. We've got a new Raisin a Raider.
Hey!
He's back with a little Raisin the Raider thing. So
that's such a great. Make sure you stay for that. It's always wonderful.
It's good.
There's a raisin that's raiding?
No, a raising a raider. Raising.
Raisin
with
the
a
raider?
G. Yes, raisin.
Like a California raisin?
California raisin.
All right, well, that has to be it for the show. We hope you had a good time and learned a little bit about what's going on in 5-4. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you on our next show next week, and it will not be at our regular time. We will tweet the deets to you as far as when it is, but it will be on Sunday.
That's right. Oh, I'm going to be in Hawaii.
Yeah, and I'm going to be coming back from out of town. So, we got to wrangle the times a little bit.
Once again, going on vacation and not inviting me.
Well, you want to come to Hawaii?
If you can fit in the
Not
suitcase,
anymore.
If you can fit in the suitcase, you're good to go.
That's right.
All right.
Mahalo.
Mahalo. And for all the guys that Convert to Raid, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.